Please stand on the feet. Stand with the feet spread easily. First of all, organize the whole body, the neck, the jaw, the eyes, and the breathing. Do not hold the floor. Let the chest hang. In easy movements, try to turn the right heel to the right and outside. Shift all of the body onto the right heel, onto the right heel. Onto the right heel, shift everything onto the right heel. Pay attention. While doing the movement, pay attention to leave the shoulders without movement to the degree that is possible. Turn with the hip joint and the pelvis. Do not turn the shoulders. To the degree that is possible, do not turn the shoulders. Make the movement with the leg itself, the leg and the pelvis. Turn the right heel outward. Continue to do this movement many times slowly. Organize the whole body until it is possible with this movement to shift to standing on the right leg while it is turning. Pay attention. Do not try to stand before you feel the standing is clear and safe. Before this, continue touch the floor with the left leg. Continue until the whole hip joint, the shoulder, and the head will soften and organize such that the moment you come onto the right leg, the left leg stays in the air by itself. Pay attention. If it does not stay in the air by itself, you can feel it, you can see it, only the person who does it does not feel it. Because you can see that the leg is contracted, that the breathing is held, that the knee is straightened, that the left knee strains. That is not standing. That the is holding. Please pay attention. We said to allow the hip joint, the knee, and the right heel to go first. This is the intention. Do not take the head backward. The right knee, the right heel and the right hip will go backward to the right. We said, without the shoulder to the degree that is possible. Pay attention and do this many times. Move the right heel and pay attention that the right hip will go after the heel, and not the shoulders. The head and the shoulders will stay forward so that in the vertebrae of the hips you will feel they are soft. The head and the shoulders will stay forward when the vertebrae of the hips straighten. Once again, do it many times until it will be smooth, 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 until it will be one continuous easy movement. Continue to do the same thing, and after the turning of the leg, of the heel, bend the head and lift the left knee forward. Bend the head and the shoulders. Pay attention. Do not bend to the floor, bend the head and the shoulders and continue to do this. Have it become that you do it in one movement. Where do the arms come if the shoulders and the head are bent freely? Where do the arms come? Where are they? Where are the arms? Hanging from the shoulders? Where are they? Continue to make this movement. Pay attention now to the movement of the vertebrae of the hips. Organize it such that head and shoulders stay forward, with a round back, without a lordosis. Pay attention. The right leg does not need to be completely straight, but it needs to be straight in the knee. This is excellent. Please leave it alone. Lie on the back and rest a moment. Please return to standing with the legs spread easily. Do the same thing on the other side. Do not start to stand without having done at least 20 movements of turning the heel and the hip. The leg needs to lift slowly because that lifting is more comfortable than when you to lift it by decision, than when you must lift it. Pay attention to the vertebrae of the neck, to the vertebrae of the hips. Pay attention so the leg that lifts will be soft in the knee, completely limp in the knee. This is to say, the lower leg will be hanging. Pay attention to an important thing. Now, with most, it is starting to be acceptable. Now, when you stand on the left heel, the body, when it comes to stand, turns around this as on an axis around the left shoulder. This is a turning that most people do not do, this the fastest turning that is possible to do, and also the most comfortable. The great majority turns forward and shifts from one leg, from one shoulder to the other, so the body does strange movements. It does not make a pure turn. And now, continue like this, shift from leg to leg, but each time, increase the turning in the foot so you go from side to side. As always, if we say, to increase then, all of a sudden, everyone goes to the end of his ability. So, it begins automatically, it has a form of dance. This is to say, it looks like dolls being pulled by strings and they do not know what they are doing. Please make the movement become comfortable, easy, organized, and then it will turn much more. Try now to make an easy movement, but so the standing will shift from leg to leg with a lifting of the leg. Pay attention to how the body turns this final movement. Do not hurry. The arms need to be hanging down from the shoulders like two ropes. Of course, during the movement, ropes must move. This is to say, also the arms. While turning the arms fly. They remain hanging, not held. Gradually make the movement such that the leg that you lift will be free even before the other leg stands on the floor. The leg that is lifted needs to be free before you can stand on the leg that is standing. In other words, it will be a type of hop, smooth. Do not hop. Do not hop. Shift. Pay attention only that you lift the leg before standing on the other leg. Do not go up onto the tips of the toes. Slowly it is possible to allow the other leg the freedom to do whatever it wants. If you increase the speed, everyone will find a more comfortable place for the leg. Do not jump. Do not just increase the turning of the heels. Allow the pelvis additional freedom so the movement will go and become larger in the turning. The turning will become larger. Do not jump on the tips of the toes. Do not lift up onto the tips of the toes. When turning, there is no need to lift onto the tips of the toes. Do not hop. Do not lift up onto the tips of the toes. Do not hop, many do it. Stand the whole foot on the floor. Leave it alone, lie and rest a moment. If we wanted to improve the standing on one leg as much as the person does not pay attention to himself and does not listen so as to know what he is doing, it is not effective. You tell him 100,000 times because he doesn't pay attention to these things. If he doesn't pay attention to not to stand on the toes, if he doesn't pay attention to that he does not stand the whole foot all at once, he will do 100,000 hours of exercise and it will stay the same. And so, I am pointing it out to you here and there, but almost every personal mistake stays without attention. This is to say that this is work without end because people want to stand, to increase the movement. If you say increase, they make a movement so as to increase, as if that is the important thing. The important thing is that it will be better one time. Please return to standing and do the same thing to the right side only. Make the freest movement possible to the right and stay there. Pay attention. When doing the movement to the right, the left leg stays free. It is able to touch the floor. Now, shift the left leg backward. Open the toes even more to the outside and shift onto the other leg. Shift the weight onto the other leg, the left leg. This means to say, turn the right heel and stand on the left leg. It is necessary to pay attention where to direct the body so it will be like that. At the beginning, do not make any movements in the legs. Just hanging free legs. If you do it quickly, it will never improve. It is necessary to do it slowly because the majority of people do not know what they do to go onto the other leg. Make the shift slowly so as to know what you do. If you make the shift slowly, you will find how to shift the weight of the body onto the leg when it is turning to the outside. This is different from turning the heel. Continue, allow the head to make a smooth movement in an arc until you feel a comfortable balance. The neck. A free neck, round the back and hips, the vertebrae of the hips, behind, are round without a lordosis. And now, do the same thing to the left. Pay attention. The feet are flat, touching the floor with the whole foot at once. The head is free to do the largest arc without power, so it is possible to stop its movement exactly. It stops by itself when it feels that it is supported nicely by the pelvis. At that point, the head by itself stops moving. But until then, it does a movement. And now, do it once to the right and once to the left. This is to say, shift once to standing on the right leg to the right and afterward once standing on the left leg to the left. In other words, make a full turning of the body. Already it is better. Do not hurry. Continue like this until it is possible to make the whole movement smooth from side to side without speed. Pay attention. When making the turn, the head needs to stay at the same height, not that you must do it intentionally. But it stays. It disturbs the balance if you lift it or lower it. Pay attention so that from the pelvis to the head everything stays soft and bent forward. Lie on the floor and rest a moment. Pay attention to how the body slowly lengthens, softens from these movements. The chest softens, and the shoulders. Return to standing, please. Continue the same movement, but this time, allow the body and the head to stay forward. From behind, the pelvis and the legs make a fast movement in an easy jump. Do the same movements with an easy jump. Pay attention to organize. Do not hurry, do not shift. Watch over the plane of the movement. That is to say, do not go forward, or backward. The neck, the shoulders, and the back are round. The neck, the head is bent down. Pay attention that the pelvis will make the whole movement rounded. What before was done just in the head, now the pelvis also does, easily rounded without interruptions. Do not jump high. If possible, accelerate the momentum so it will be possible to balance the limbs. Pay attention to the movement of the feet, the heel, and the hip, because the vast majority falls after each jump, or they jump too high unnecessarily. Do not jump high. Pay attention that the pelvis is able to make a rounded movement. Once again, pay attention to the lordosis so there will not be a lordosis in the back. The head, at the time when feet touch the body, does not need to make you jump up. If it jumps up you lose balance. Do not jump with the body. First of all, allow the pelvis to make a smooth movement. It's not important to jump. Pay attention. Do not jump. Allow the pelvis to make a smooth movement around. Jumping will come afterward, when it is organized well. Do not lift up onto the tips of the toes. All those that are falling are lifting up onto the tips of the toes. Stand the whole foot on the floor, the whole foot, not the toes. Now please make the same thing, but 4 times slower. In other words, the same thing, just slowly so it is possible to see what is being done, slowly. And then, pay attention, who lifts themselves onto the tips of the toes. You will see that also while going slowly, he falls. If while going slowly you fall, it is clear that it is not okay. Turn the knee, the hip joint such the foot can turn. Then, it will be unnecessary to jump and there will be balance then, it will be possible to jump high. To turn like we are turning the heel, it is necessary to turn the knee along with the heel. If you turn the knee and the hip, it is possible to turn the body. Pay attention for the knee needs to make the same turn that the heel does. In other words, the movement is in the hip joint. The balance is in the vertebrae of the hips. That is why it needs to be soft there. Please lie and rest a moment. Return to standing. Stand with the feet spread easily. This time we will do the other way of turning and you will see the differences. Shift the right leg in front of, to the left so as to stand on the right leg. Do this and return to place in the same path. Do this many times. And now, shift the left leg forward to the right. Slowly balance the body on the left leg. Shift onto the left and stand. You see what the body has learned. To turn the pelvis. Now it also succeeds. It does it now. This is to say, that despite the will, you learn something. If you pay attention, you will see that you turn the pelvis also in the movement to the front. What most people do not do. This is very good. And now, make a full circle forward. This is to say, with the right leg to the left, and return. Continue and make a full circle. Return a full circle. On the feet, do not go onto the tips of toes, on the feet, a full circle. Do not go up on the tips of the toes, an open foot. And, pay attention. As long as the foot is not the flat, breath is held during the turns. The foot needs to be free so it is possible to stand on the whole foot. The toes and the foot, in the lower leg, in the ankle, soft to a degree like this. The touching of the toes is not felt as a pushing. And now, pay attention to the breathing, to the softness of the vertebrae of the hips, to the neck behind. The head is bent. Slowly, slowly, you will see that after this is okay, there is no difficulty to straighten the head or to do anything that you want because the legs feel the floor clearly, securely. Then it is possible to do whatever you want with the rest of the back. Leave it alone. Lie on the floor and rest a moment. Return to standing. Try what we did before. That means from behind. Bend the head forward, forward, free neck. The back is round and long. Now take the right heel to the right and make a movement. Now, do it. Allow the pelvis to fly behind in the direction like this, as you are doing. What you were doing slowly, allow the pelvis to make a continuous movement. As such, turn the knees, the thighs, and the whole foot so that the pelvis is able to continue the turning, and the head so it will be able to be bent and continue to make full curve. And now, try to go only to the right a number of times, a number of turns to the right. Watch over the pelvis and the head. Do not do a lot because the head will start to spin. Try to make at least 2 turnings to the right, 2 full turns. After this, 2 full turns to the left. Slowly organize so the head and pelvis will feel one another. At the time of the movement, one will not disturb the other, then it will be possible to jump. Leave it alone. Lie on the floor and rest a moment. Return to standing. Do the same thing now, but just one circle. 1 turn, just hop one leg to the other. Pay attention that the head and pelvis stay at the same softness and then the hopping will be easy. It will be the same thing, an easy hopping. Try to jump. Hop from one leg to the other, at least in the first movement, not high, hopping in the same direction as the movement of the pelvis. If you will do the hop in the direction of movement of the pelvis, it will happen by itself. Arms of course. Pay attention. The feet and the knees need to make the largest turning in the hips as possible. You make the turn of the foot and the leg in the hip joint. Then the pelvis start to feel secure on these feet. Pay attention. In the hopping, do not contract the back. It will stay soft from behind. This is to say that the head is bent. Do not lift it during the hopping. Then, it will hop more and more securely and also higher. Please one more time. Pay attention to how much. This is only because the back is soft in the hips. This allows a high hopping. Pay attention. The pelvis needs to jump, not the head. Allow the pelvis to lift and move, not the head. The head needs to go in this curve so as to allow the pelvis to make the movement.